Good evening, Revati, Timothy, Umar, Assalamualaikum. Good evening, Jamie.
Walaikum salam, Doctor. How are you?
Fine, thank you, Alhamdulillah. Okay, today we will cover topic 7. The notes I just uploaded at your LMS. It's about forming the new venture. In the meantime, please write your name and matrix number just for my record purpose. And in the chat. Okay. I'll share my screen. Yeah, these two share. Share. Quite a long topic, but I will just go through quickly. We only have 1.5 hours. Okay, topic 7 will be on forming your venture. So how do you form a venture? It will be some of the regulations that I will put up here will be according to the Malaysian law. Yeah? But I think that doesn't differ much in your own country, perhaps. So yeah, you need to form a new venture team. It's in any entrepreneurship. So you cannot work alone, especially if you are looking for funders, investors, or to deal with external parties, banks, funding, and so on. So they would like to see your full team. So the new venture team will comprise of the group of founders, maybe 1 or 2% group of founders, but it can be you alone, you can get a partner. And then, but the most expensive employee of any organization is your partner. And then you need to have some key employees according to the area of your business. You need to have key persons. And then you may need to have advisors. And then later, and then to that move to a new venture from an idea. So you start with an idea, maybe you brainstorm, we get in some idea. But in order to realize your idea, you will have a full team, full team. So anyway, we don't have to, all the team doesn't have to come at once. You can gradually build them up. For example, maybe during the development stage, you need to have some people who do some technical, to do the coding. You can assign people to do coding in the meantime, and then maybe later. So if, for example, you want to do some API, application programming interface, you can get somebody to do the API. And then later on, once you need them in your organization, you can find a key person, a staff with good KPI. So you don't have to hire all the person at once. Maybe when you don't have many staff, you can manage the team on your own. You don't have to hire HR and so on. So this team actually is more than your paid employees. It can include your board of directors, especially in entrepreneurship entrepreneurial venture. Everybody need to play their role. You need to have board advisors and professionals like accountants, engineers, professional engineers, IT consultant, and so on to be part of your team for setting up the team. You can and then. But anyway, when you start a new venture, there are high propensity to fail. I think you can see about I don't recall the number, but more than half, I think 2/3 of companies will not make it up to the third year. So they can survive in first year, second year, but the third year, they will not be there anymore. So the propensity to fail is very high. But that is entrepreneurship. It is not about planning. We learned last week, it's not about you plan, what do you plan? And then, but in order to, sometimes when you don't reach your destination, it's also not so bad, but you will be somewhere and then you need to adjust yourself. Yeah, so when you are new, there is what we call liability of newness, where people do not know you, and then you need to create awareness that you exist, and then you don't have track record. You have not created any sale yet, so you need to have a feel how to close a sale, and then from then on, you get feedback from from your customers or consumers, and then so your team will will have a learning experience, learning curve to get to know. So elements of a new venture team will comprise of your board of directors. Of course, in the Malaysian law, we have three. You can have basically for the entrepreneurship. They can be key sole proprietor. Sole proprietor was formed under registration of business, under Registration of Business Act. Akta Pendaftaran Perniagaan, Registration of Business Act, 1956. So, or you can form a partner, still under Registration of Business Act. So another method is you fall under the Limited Liability Partnership Act, LLPA. Limited Liability Partnership Act, you can, 2012, you can form a partnership under LLP instead of under Register of Business Act, or you can also form a company. The minimum number of directors for companies in Malaysia is 1%. For
Sorry,
Companies Act 2016.
Prof.
Yes,
Sorry to interrupt, Prof. I am looking at the slides that you uploaded for topic 7
yes.
versus the slide and Prof is showing us, but it doesn't tell us, sir.
Is it?
It's a different slide, sir. Maybe I'm confused myself.
Okay,
But
let me check.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, I'll check back in the meantime. I'll stop share for a while.
Thank you, sir.
Hold on. I will check.
The one that I downloaded is related to model-based decision-making.
No. Okay. That is the wrong one. That is the wrong one. This is supposed to be the right one. Okay. Model-based decision making is business intelligence. Business intelligence. Hold on, yeah. I'll check. Putra LMS. Yes, that is business intelligence. So I will change it now. Okay, the topic. Delete. So, okay. That is the wrong one. That is business intelligence. Okay. This semester I teach 2 subjects. Okay. Okay. If you refresh your browser, you will get these new documents. Yeah.
Thank you, Prof.
Okay, so we'll continue from where we left just now. Okay. So this is the elements for forming the venture. So I'll start with the board of directors. So I've covered just now the sole proprietor partnership. You can also have companies. Companies, there are 2 acts actually. In Malaysia, we started with Companies Act 1965, where they require 2 directors minimum and 2 shareholders minimum. So previous companies have formed before 2016 will have 2 directors at least and 2 shareholders. And then, but since 2016, the new Companies Act 2016 allow only at a minimal 1 director only, 1 director and 1 shareholder. So it can be, you can be 1 director, and then the rest could be your other key employees, professionals that you hold as a paid employee. And then you, beside the board of directors, your new venture team will have key employees. Will depends on your type of business. For example, if you are doing, so I've been exploring into new business, consulting new business recently on bioinformatics. For example, bioinformatics, you will have somebody in the DNA recombinant DNA, and then you may have people in IT doing the coding as well. Yeah, so it depends on your nature of business. If you need to develop API, for example, in the initial stage, maybe you don't have to have somebody to code for you, but you can hire it somewhere outside. And then later on, as your business get more active, you may have to hire them as your employee. And then beside the key employee, you need to have management team headed by the key employee, which will be the person in charge of administration and management, maybe in finance. And then you will have a management team that administer your to do your administrative work. Yeah, because once you start businesses, there are responsibilities that you need to handle, like taxation, like regular reportings to regularity, yeah, yeah, to the government and so on. And then you will have board of advisors. Sometimes you will need to have board advisors to advise you in certain area. And then you will have your lenders and investors. We will discuss detailed lenders and investors later. And then you may have other professionals as well. And then, okay, this is so common mistake usually when you form a team is actually putting unqualified friends and family members in the management position, because business is actually a serious activity. You don't bring family members unnecessarily. And then later on, you may lose your friend after the business start rolling, and then there will be squabble between family members and so on. And then businesses that may not run well, and then they may have other interests as well. So you don't place unqualified friends or family members unless they are really qualified. They initiated the idea with you and so on. And then and then it is also a common mistake that you base on previous success in other industries. Maybe this person is have been doing well in another venture, and then you bring them into your venture. So that is also a common mistake, because sometimes business situations differ. And then another thing is on a one-person team philosophy, meaning that you wear all hats. Nobody can wear all hats. So you need to have a team. Either you hire them or you make them as a partner. And then, but bear in mind, your most expensive employee is your partner. They may not do anything at all, but you will end up paying them. So, and then hiring top managers without sharing ownership in the firm is another mistake, where the key person who hold top position, and then they know all the tricks in their sleeves, and then but you don't share ownership with them, so it will be disastrous later. And then The other is not disclosing or talking dismissively of the management skill, or there are competency gaps, yeah, on the management skills, and then vague or unclear plans. So you do not have a clear plans how to fill up your competency. What is the skill required in your new venture team? So in order to develop a new venture team, you need to know specifically what you plan to do, and then you build the team according to the skill requirements. So you will start with a founder, maybe so proprietor or partners or founders, partners, or in even companies. If from a company, nation law allow you to have one single shareholder and single director, and then studies shown, this is based on the textbook, that 50 to 70% of all new ventures started by on more than one individual, meaning that you have some friends with similar interests venturing into new teams, in new areas. But whether it will be an advantage compared to those started by a sole entrepreneur is that we do not know yet. Yeah. So it's actually depends case by case, because entrepreneurship is about effectuation. You do not know where you will end. You will start with whatever you have, and then you'll move, and then you may end up somewhere. Advantages in forming starting as a team is the team will bring more talent, resources, and ideas to the new venture. So you don't form a team based on similar skills. So a team all engineers, a team of all computer programmers, computer scientists, a team of all accountants. You don't do that. So you need to have a multi-talent team, meaning that my role is in IT, for example, designing the software and so on. But there will be somebody else who in charge of marketing. Marketing is a key role. Somebody else who are in charge in the finances, who get funding for the company and so on. So they need to have more talent, so you can get more ideas and more resources to the venture. So it's good to have someone with uh, a broad and deep network of social and professional contacts to your business. So you need to have a marketing person or collaborators or production managers, for example, who have access to raw material, or key person, and then or marketers who have social network who are in, who can tie you up with some corporate bodies, for example, so you can go for B2B instead of starting with B2C. So yeah, and then you need to have a psychological support, yeah, so that for the co-founders to support each other. So it's not an easy task, but uh, it is satisfactory. It will be satisfactory. Entrepreneurship is full of satisfaction, but you have to be serious in venturing it. And then disadvantages of on some teams is when the team members may not get along. If you sense that you cannot work with the other people, so you don't form a team with them, because one of the days maybe you will have a problem with them. And then if two or more people start the firm as equals, there will be conflict arising. For example, when you form a company, you cannot have 50-50. I hold 50% share, you hold 50% share. Then it was not a doable equity. Because for a partner, for any partner, for when you form a team, there must be one person who is more than the other, maybe 51-49. Okay, I take 51, you take 49. Or I take 49, you take 51. But the person with the most share will take charge. So we need a leader. We cannot be equal player, because equal player will end up doing indecisive, meaning that you cannot make any decision. Yeah. Someone need to have the final say, one of the final say. So you need to but based on you can evaluate yourself and then determine which of your partners will hold more shares. They need to invest more, 51% and 49%. It's actually only 2% difference, but they will be the decision maker, the final decision maker. Yeah. And then if the founders have similar area of expertise, they will duplicate with each other. So it will not complement with each other. And then even they will argue with each other, because there are some school of thoughts, for example, like engineering. Some engineers prefer to do this, some engineers prefer to this. For example, if in system development, for example, some system development prefer to do this method, and then at the end, you will duplicate each other, you will squabble with each other, and then it doesn't complement each other. So it's best that people have coming from different expertise, different skill set. So team members can easily disagree on work habits, tolerances, levels of passion, ideas. So that is that is common. Maybe you can feel that you are doing more work than the rest, or then you feel dissatisfied, for example. So that is another disadvantage of working as a team. So key elements to have a successful founding team is actually to team that have worked together before, meaning that you have worked with them together in previous projects, compared to those who work first time. So you do not know whether you are able to work together. And then members of teams which are heterogeneous, meaning they're from different areas of discipline, different areas of expertise, different skill set, rather than homogeneous. Because homogeneous, you tend to argue with each other. So it's best that not to form a too big team, just enough. And then the rest is maybe have 2 or 3 founders. The rest is to start the ball rolling, and then the rest will be your key persons. Yeah, in terms of higher education, that entrepreneurial skill are enhanced by through higher education, but today you can also learn actually through micro credentials. You take courses and so on in the skill set that you don't have. And then founders who are familiar with entrepreneurial process are more likely to avoid costly mistakes. So what are the normal things that you can fumble? So you can, with such experience, you can look into whether, for example, like finances, whether you take loans or you do cloud. Yeah, you put up your software in the cloud, or you want to build your software in premises. So you have some may have experience on it. And then the other advantage is when people have relevant industry experience. So these are preferred attributes of entrepreneurs. So you need to have relevant experience. It's best that you embark into something that you are familiar. So so you will have established professional networks. You know the customers, you know the suppliers, you know the services that you can get in order to get things running. So rather than you start alone and then you do not know who to buy product, who to buy materials from, who to sell the products and so on. So better that you have somewhere, you have some experience, or you have the professional network, especially on marketing and management skills. It's best that you have some exposure in tax, for example, tax, in getting funding. You have some exposure in getting lease for equipments. So some equipments you don't have to buy, you can just lease. But what sort of lease that you can get? Maybe factoring, for example, you can get factoring. You can get working capital for finances. And then you can also know what types of customers, who are the customers, and then how do you have access to some corporations or organizations that you can do B2B instead of B2C. And then new venture team who have brought social and professional networks, so they have instead of just know-how, capital, and customer referrals, you can also have who, your broad social professional network, so it can build up the business. So startup will vary in terms of how they need to add their staff, their personnels. So for some cases, I think a lot of cases, founders, especially in IT, founders can start developing their software first, creating API, and put up a blog, put up a website, and they start rolling. And then from time to time, you add on people uh, to to build your venture, and then start to get traction. Yeah. So you need to have a skills profile to show what are the skills that you need, and then what are the skills gap that exist in the new firm. For example, you lack marketing people. You need to have access to certain network. Yes. Yes, Alice.
Yes, Prof.
Yeah.
I read through a few books of startup people like Bill Gates,
Mm.
like Steve Jobs.
Mm.
These people, they are genius type. They are not necessary is likable people,
Mm.
right? So, just from your point of view, is it necessary for someone to be likable by everybody for to build a successful startup business?
Okay, in order to start up, everybody can start up actually, not to be a genius people, but how do you build the system? How do you build the system? Maybe you are not in good in certain area, but you know someone who is good in certain area, in the certain aspect. So if you can get access to that, and then but you have to pay, or you have to build a partnership with them. So you don't have to be an engineer. For example, like you can say, I will go through the case of Bill Gates, for example. Bill Gates have a very, very good network. The mother of Bill Gates is a director of a bank, and then the chairman of that bank is his mother's father, meaning his maternal grandfather. And then this bank give loan to IBM. IBM take loan from this bank. So the mother actually arranged for Bill Gates to meet the IBM chairman to deal with supplying the operating system to IBM. So it is about networking. So Bill Gates is not the technical person in me. So it's about networking. Same goes with you can read about Steve Jobs as well. You don't have to know everything, but it's how do you assemble the thing. It's about assembling, and then there is no failure actually in entrepreneurship. You just may end up somewhere else, and then you need to make do with where you arrive. For example, like I mentioned earlier, if you plan to go to Johor Bahru, which is southwest of Malaysia, and then you end up in Penang. Okay, so what you get? What can you do when you arrive Penang? So that is where I look at it, Alice. Okay, Alice.
Okay, Prof. Sometime if we just try and fail, um, it could be a
Yeah,
very high risk high
yeah, okay.
risk trial.
I have been there. I've been there. So you don't have to, it is an exercise actually. Whatever you start, every time you fail, actually you need to do some sort of post-mortem. You look at what made you fail, and then you improve. You might make you fail, you improve. And then when you do a new venture, and then you look at, okay, this is where I have failed, and then how do I become this, look into the situation. But one thing about entrepreneurship, you cannot work alone. You cannot work alone. You need to have friends. You need to have partners. You cannot work alone. Most of them which are fail actually when they're working alone. You need to have network because entrepreneurs actually, if you have embarked into entrepreneurs, we help each other. Entrepreneurs do help each other because everybody have the same experience of failure and so on. Say, okay, you win, I win. So it is a most of the time will be a win-win situation. So you have to build your network.
Usually, where do you tap on this kind of network building, Prof?
Okay, sometimes when we I from my experience, I participate in tenders. For example, when I participate in tenders and then for the tender session, we exchange cards. And then when we attend conferences, we exchange cards. Whatever talks that we have, we exchange cards. We find opportunities to exchange cards so that whenever we want to build a solution, for example, I 90%, and we want to build a solution, we bring them in. We don't work alone because in the future, when they have opportunity, they will bring us in. Because especially in these digital technologies, nobody knows everything. So everybody is, for example, networking people, the software, the system analysts, and then the system integrators, and everybody is doing their own role. And then, but everybody have opportunity. It's about how do they share the opportunity with us and how we share the opportunity with them. That is from my experience, at least.
Thanks, Prof. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Networking is very important. Yeah. So this is okay. This is how the teams back to the skills profile. You don't in the first time in the initial stage you don't need many key person, many employees. Try to make minimal. We call it lean and mean. Yeah. Try to be lean and mean, and then you can have full or part-time employees. To be frank, I also use intern. When I started my initial development, I use intern because they are cheap, but you have to guide them, and then you have to monitor them what to do. Yeah. Or full or part-time employee. You can also hire so IT freelancers, yeah, to do some of the activities, freelancers, and then you can have virtual assistant, yeah, somebody who keep up your accounting and so on. Yeah. Administration, especially on administrative. Yeah. So, and then you will start with a board of director. Maybe it allow, for example, Companies Act 2016 in Malaysia allow one person to be a director and a shareholder, but you need to form a team. Still, if even if you are the single director, single shareholder, the same person, you still need to form a team to get somebody else to. It's best if you can get someone to be with you, but yeah, but avoid having your spouses because the liability will be shared with the directors. Well, you don't want to have both of you share the liability. So formal responsibility of board will be to appoint officers of the firm. So one of them can be the officer. If you have two, one will be the CEO, managing director, will be declare dividends and so on. So I will not go through this. This will depend on the and then what the directors do to have the organization or board of directors you can have also have independent directors. Independent directors who are not shareholders, but you have to pay them for the meeting session. So every time you meet, you pay that so that they can provide guidance. You use their name, for example, as chairman, for example, non-executive chairman, you use their name to legitimacy, borrowing their legitimacy. And then the other directors can be board of advisors. You may have board of advisors, or you can also have lenders and investors that will be monitoring you. Some venture capital or angel investor, they will be monitoring you. Other professionals, yeah, these are board of advisors. I will not. And then lenders or investors that who have invested interest in you. Usually, when you start up, it's difficult for you to get loan from banks. But there are some avenues in Malaysia. For example, like you can go for SME Corporation, SME Corp. There are some government-related agencies, yeah, that provide some funding for new startups. So these lenders, for example, like angel investors, venture capital, will help you to identify and recruit the key management personnel. If they have been in the industry, they will provide some insight into the industry. They will also introduce you to the market players. They will also, venture capital will also introduce you to market players. When you identify, when you go for venture capital or angel investor, pick the one who can help you. Pick the one who can introduce you to the market players, who have channels to the because like based on what I explained at least just now is in order to make a successful venture is you need to have network, and then these venture capital have networks, and then they also will be able to fine tune your business model. I think in the beginning of this class we talk about business model, and then so they can provide you with new ideas, and then also introduce new additional sources of capital. They can also recruit you, introduce you to new customers. Yeah. And then they will help you to arrange business partnership, maybe some materials some services that you require from other counterparts. They will assist you into that. And then they will serve on the board of directors. And then you provide sense of calm during the extreme situation of this entrepreneurship. And then you can have other professionals like your attorneys, accountants, and business consultants. Yeah, usually you can have paid consultants, and there are also paid consultants that be provided to like SME Bank, SME Corp. If you get the facility, they will provide you with consultants. And then funding your venture. How do you get your venture? It's not difficult. It's difficult. It's not easy to get. Basically what you need to have is what we call it 3F: family, friends, and fools. The family members. You can start with your own. You can call it bootstrapping to minimal, whatever you can make use what you have first. Bootstrapping, and then you can have family members to support you, friends to support you, give them some small equity. And then in Malaysia, you can also go for crowdfunding, two types of crowdfunding, ECF, equity crowdfunding, ECF under the Securities Commission, or you can also go for the P2P lending, still under Securities Commission, organized by Securities Commission. Okay, and then why do you need to have funding? Is to cover your cash flow. So you need to purchase some inventory, some materials. Even for IT startup, you may need to host some server. You need to have some server hosting. You need to have to pay for your cloud provider. Cloud provider, for example, like Amazon, Azure, yeah, and then or even your VPS, virtual private server or dedicated server, or you can even start up with normal hosting, shared hosting. But all this comes with expenses, so you need to have some cash flow to start with. And then you may need to have some employee and advertising. You want to put up in Google or in some social media, Facebook and so on. So that would be, and then you need to have to buy some capital, some servers, some even you don't have you do cloud, maybe you need to have some PCs or hardware in your own premises, cost of buying servers, and then lengthy product development cycle. So once you start the project, but the lead time until it start generating income, until the time it start generating income, so there will be a production development cycle. Yeah, so where do you get it? How do you raise money? Will be maybe you start with your personal fund, whatever you have. You can do debt financing, meaning they take loan. Equity capital, meaning that you give some people shares in your company. They might not be a director, but they can have some share. There are two types of share. It can be preference share or ordinary share. Ordinary share will have some voting right, but preference share, there is no voting right, but instead you agree to pay them interest or minimal interest or minimal dividend over a period of time. Yeah, and then some of these preference shares will be converted into an ordinary share. And then you can find other creative sources, like maybe you can do factoring. You can do factoring, meaning that your customers, the bank will pay first your expenses in lian, when will be an in lian of the purchase order from your customers, for example. Like, so most of the funding started with of this entrepreneurship started with personal funds, meaning that founders contribute your own fund. You can have family investing in you, family friends investing in you. Yeah. And then another method is called bootstrapping. After you do this, and then you will do bootstrapping, meaning that you use very basic need. Avoid any external funding. Whatever you have, you bootstrap, meaning you don't so buy used equipment instead of new equipment. Coordinated, but yes, at least.
Sorry, Prof.
It's
Me
okay.
again. Prof, for production, usually we address something called minimum viable product, MVP. For digital entrepreneurship, how do we identify MVP?
It's still minimal viable, still we call it minimal viable
Yeah.
product. But in terms of services, usually in terms of services, product can be a physical product, can also be a services. Still called product. Minimum viable product. You need to have something that very minimal that people will start buying. So rather than you need the product to be complete, sometimes you need to have you need to know how much loss, how much expenses that you can cover. Okay, for IT, usually you'll be offering people to use beta product first, but beta product they will not pay. So you need to know how much you need to bear, how much you could bear to start with beta products. So you give them use the beta products. That is it is called still MVP, minimum viable product, but it's not like physical products, but it is a beta product, a software that people can use, but they don't have to pay because we don't want to bear the liability. And then until we improve the products, and then we will charge them. And then the product will be improved. You can remember when we started with Zoom, it is very minimal. We started Zoom. Today, Zoom is different. But when they started, this was very minimal. But you need to generate income. So you need to start with a minimal product so that they will start getting income from there. So that from this income, you can continue to improve your product.
So let's say if we have a freemium subscription product, is it the MVP would be identified based on the basic plan that we have, Prof? Which
Yes,
means,
you can recall, if you can recall Skype. Skype, when they started, Skype is a freemium model. We have free, and then we have premium model. So the free is very basic, but even the premium back then was still just slightly improved, meaning you can just use the phone number instead of, but they don't have much facility when they started. So now Skype has improved, but it is still, I can say that it's still MVP, but they sell it as a premium. Yeah.
Yep.
That-
Thanks, Prof.
okay. So, for example, like when you, for example, can number two is coordinate purchases with other businesses. If you need to buy materials, for example, you coordinate with other businesses so that you can buy them at the volume. So it'll be cheaper rather than you buying alone. And then, so you have a volume game there. So you don't buy product, you lease the equipment. For example, you can, for example, in IT, you can use cloud instead of buying your own server. Use cloud and then you start, because cloud is scalable. Once your customers get more, and then you can increase. And then you obtain payment in advance from customers. You get some down payment deposits from the customers. And then minimize your personal expenses. So and then avoid unnecessary expenses, lavish office space, and so just do basic. Just do basic. And then especially when IT, people do not see how your office is. That is much better. Yes, people don't see, people don't come to your office. So it's much better for technology, for digital business for people. So buy cheap items through discount outlet. You can buy even if you need to get some furniture, buy second-hand furniture, share office space, employees with other businesses. You share because especially for digital business, people don't come and buy product in the office. You don't need an outlet. You can have software, you can have a website and so on, and then materials can be kept somewhere else at a certain storage space. You can rent a small storage space to stock up certain material. For example, if you do e-commerce, yeah, so on, and then you can hire interns. So in order to manage your debt of equity financing, you need to know how much you need, and then when do you need them, and when do you need them? Just not just how much you need, but when do you need them? You don't take loan unnecessarily and keep them in the fixed deposit and so on, because fixed deposit will never rate will never be higher than the loan rate. Loan rate will be higher than the fixed deposit rate, because that is the gap, the jaw that the bank earn. So you just uh, take liability debts when you need them. So how much you need, just based on that, you can and then you determine the most appropriate type of financing or funding. So you can have higher purchase, for example, instead of working capital. Leasing, there are two types of leasing: operational lease and financial lease. Financial lease is when you lease, you have an option to purchase at the end of the period. Operational lease is you lease, but at the end of the period, you return the products, the materials to them. For example, you want to get some computers and servers. You can, if you need them, some instead of, some you may use in the cloud. You can, or in the hosting companies, but you may need some in your office. So those ones you can have option to purchase, and then, or you can look into the amount. You can also have option to lease, and then that is called operational lease, meaning at the end of the period, you have to return the item to them, but they will cover the maintenance. Meaning this lease, they will cover whatever problem, troubleshooting of the hardware, so they will come. And then develop a strategy to engage potential investors and bankers. Bankers want to see some revenue coming in, and then your uh, profitable business. So you develop a strategy so that you can engage with the potential investors and banks. And then there are equity funding, two method of common alternative equity funding. Here in Malaysia, you can go for SC, capital. Actually, we have this equity crowdfunding under a Securities Commission. Nation Capital. I'll get later on. I'll get the loan. Yeah. And then you can also have in under SC, they will also have this peer-to-peer lending, But this equity crowdfunding and the ECF and the peer-to-peer lending, their rate is quite high. Actually, the interest rate is quite high. So it's better that you find some other options. Debt financing is where you get loan from the bank. Higher purchase is still a loan.
Sorry,
So,
Prof.
yes.
Sorry to interrupt. Prof, all the measures in terms of banking loan is related to local Malaysians or for foreigners too? Or for
Also foreigners too.
foreigners can apply as well.
Foreigners can apply as well.
Thank you, Prof.
Yeah. Yeah, because it is regulated. Many countries regulate the crowdfunding. So not everybody, because they don't want to have some frauds to happen, scammers. So it is regulated. So those who set up a platform for ECF, equity crowdfunding, or this peer-to-peer lending in Malaysia need to obtain license. The license is provided by the Securities Commission. So there are a number of, let me share. Hold on, I'll stop share first. I'll show you this. Okay. Okay. Okay, this is the website for Capital Markets Malaysia. So there are two methods, which is one is equity crowdfunding, is alternative fundraising. This is only those who are registered in Securities Commission Malaysia. You can be at both sides here. You can be the equity investor, or you can also be the company that, so you can be the investor, you can be the issuer. Issuer is the one that issue, for example, non-technology here is 51%, 49% is technology. Is the one that issue the equity. You can be the issuer. But you could also be the investor that invest in these companies. So there are some equity companies you can, I would not go through detail here because I don't have time. So it is open to anyone. Yeah, so retail investor, angel investor, and sophisticated investor. To become an investor, you can be an investor, or you can, if you want to be an issuer, you need to go to this ECF operator. So for example, like this is an ECF operator, equity crowdfunding operator. This is the one this is the platform. This is the platform, and then these are the companies. Yeah, Pre-Life, Star Growers, Cosmetic OEM, Specialized. So these are the companies that provide the campaign. We call them campaigns. So same goes with, this is for equity. There is another method, we call them P2P, peer-to-peer lending. Yeah. So Hobby Car Malaysia, for example. So another method here is peer-to-peer lending. Where is fund management, peer-to-peer lending, peer-to-peer financing. This is peer-to-peer financing. Peer-to-peer financing, same goes here. We have, it can be an issuer and it can be an investor. So it is raised, this is by lending. They will charge interest. Yes. So this is not the operators, for example, so they will charge interest. So if you are an investor, you will be paid interest. Yes. So this is the, I don't know, okay, this client say this is some news from them. Yeah.
Sorry, Prof.
Yes.
I'm not changing the topic, but since you were mentioning about investment, about getting funding for your business in terms of your business venture and so on.
Yeah.
Grab as a Grab Holdings or Grab company in Malaysia. So I just want to know your opinion, because this is what happened based on what I understand in the literature or the summary of this company. The company started in Malaysia, and they're supposed to be the competitor of Uber, but back in 2012 they couldn't get finance, any type of financial bank loans or the government support or banking to run their business or grow a little bit. So they have to move to Singapore, where they got all the finance that is required for them to move forward. So knowing that Malaysia has so much to support the business, do you know any reason why Grab left Malaysia and moved to Singapore and become actually the headquarters of a company that was born in Malaysia?
Okay, I happen to be in a podium together with Anthony, the Anthony Tan. She was the grandson of an entrepreneur in Malaysia, which is Tan Chong, who sells Nissan cars, Datsun cars in Malaysia. So there was, I think one time, I think I have my picture in the podium in my Facebook, but I will not show it here now. So he started off with My Taxi. He started off with My Taxi, and then he sought investors from venture capital. So I was seeking for venture capital at the same time with him. So, and then we presented, do you see that was a program that we want to go to US to get funding, venture capital in the US, that we were together also looking for funders from the US. So he was promoting My Taxi, I was promoting my previous business. And then but what I did not follow up, listen, check with him whatever happened after that. But what I heard is that usually when we presented to venture capital will give us provide with their comments. Will provide us with their comments. So what are the comments for us to improve before they can invest? Yeah, so I also have some comments to improve in my products, in my business, and then he also have comments for his product and his business. But and then he changed it to Grab, and then he presented to venture capitalists in Singapore based on that comments, and then he get investment from Singapore. So I also received, but I did not proceed further. I just do whatever I have. But he also presented it to venture capital in Malaysia, and then the venture capital in Malaysia provided comments, and then he improved his businesses based on the comments, and then he presented in Singapore, and then he get venture capital from Singapore. No, he don't know. It's actually, it's not a must that he has to go to Singapore, but he sought for funding. So he presented in Malaysia, but instead of giving funding, Malaysian venture capital provide comments for him to improve. And then based on these comments, he went, and then after he has improved, he went and presented to venture capital in Singapore, and he got investment in Singapore.
Thank you, Prof.
Okay.
Prof, just a follow-up
Yes.
question to the topic that raised by Castillo.
Yes.
In terms of usually in my experience dealing with startups, for example, in Southeast Asia region, APJ region, there's a lot of ISV, independent software vendor, where there are very low MVP is invested, but once the models manage to scale up to certain success level, they will try to sell it. So you usually MNC company like my company, we avoid this kind of customer because they usually don't have a strong financial standing to back their investment. So if I put myself in their shoe, where I'm going to have a startup based on I don't know, the same software blending model.
Okay, a lot of
How do I
okay,
request for funding
okay,
or support?
a lot of startup actually to do. They have some idea. They seek their how to realize their idea, and then they do startup. But when there will be investors that come into looking for making some because usually venture capital and angel investor are not there to stay. They will be there only 2 or 3 years, and then they will leave. And then they want to have a huge amount of return when they leave. So the company, the startup need to prepare an exit for the venture capital or the angel investor need to prepare an exit. So I don't have the answer for specifically for your case, at least, but I know that there are some you need to build up actually. If you are very serious in your business, you like your business well, you need to build up. You need to build up somewhere because angel investor, when they come in, they will take a lot of, they will hold you, and then they'll have a huge amount of equity, and then they will eat you up. Some of the organizations will eat you up. So if you want to stay, it's better that you be very lean, but you build up your venture. Of course, you will need some venture capital, but you you be in the position that you have some strong, still have strong power to deal. Yeah. Does that answer you at least?
Yeah, if I get your answer right, which mean I need to hold certain bargaining power, but I
Yes, you
still
need to hold some bargaining power.
yeah, I still haven't figured out which should I hold. But
Yeah.
thank you, Prof.
Especially in terms of the technology, you need to have some bargaining power, especially technology. If you're talking about idea, everybody have ideas, but how do you make sure that you need to have some power there? Okay, now we proceed with this entrepreneurial venture characteristics. I think I will move this, and then I will not prepare you for elevator speech. Just comment. This is when you get venture capital, you will do some elevator speech. Anybody of you have done pitching? At least have you done pitching at least?
Yes, Prof. I done pitching tender in my reverse role,
Okay.
and right now I manage the global account, so I
Okay.
support our global customer if they
Yes.
need help. But I don't pitch today.
Okay. So elevator speech is imagining that you enter an elevator together with the CEO of venture capital, and then you have a very short, maybe 60 seconds or 3 minutes or 5 minutes to bring their interest, to set up another appointment, not to present actually. This speech is not to present, but to create an interest, to draw their interest so that you can set up another appointment. So I'll not go through this pitching. So skip to the equity funding. You can have business angels, angel investors, call it venture capital, and also IPO. IPO will be, there are some, for example, when you talk, Jamie mentioned about Grab. Grab is went for IPO in Nasdaq. Uh, they are in Nasdaq now. Yeah, so after they are in US. Yeah? So business angels are people who invest in their own personal capacity directly. So business angels usually are older person. They have their amount, some amount of funds, so that they can invest directly to the organization, to the venture capital, to the ventures. Yeah, and then a lot of well-known companies get investment from the angel investors. Yeah, the even Facebook, I think. And then besides angel investors, you have this venture capital. Capital is a fund managers. They take fund from other people, and then they invest into the venture. Fund from investors. Just now, the crowdfunding platform. They draw venture capitals. So yeah, venture capitals get fund from other individual or angel investors or people who have access of fund. They put up to the venture capital, and then the venture capital will select which startup they want to invest and invest. But venture capital is they will stay maybe 2 to 3 years, and then they will need to reap the return, maybe 25%. So you need to make sure that you are able to allow them to exit. They will ask you, how do they exit? And then IPO will take more than 3 years, so you cannot rely on IPO if you just started up. So you need to look into some other avenues. Maybe you can get some. That's how Grab went to Nasdaq. Nasdaq is essentially allow for faster IPO. There is venture capital. I will skip because we don't have much time. And then IPO is most entrepreneur firm go for Nasdaq. In Korea they have Kosdaq. Yeah. And then other source of funding, we have commercial banks. It's not easy to get commercial banks unless you have traction, you have businesses activities that have shown track record of a number of years. Or you can also get, for Malaysian companies, they can also get guaranteed loans from the Credit Guarantee Corporation, CGC. Yeah? CGC. So this is commercial banks. This is guaranteed loan programs. So Credit Guarantee Corporation is a government body under the Ministry of Finance. They guarantee your business for Malaysians. They guarantee your business so that you will use their guarantee to get borrowing from banks. Yeah. And then other than that, you can get peer-to-peer lenders. Peer-to-peer lenders, you can use the peer-to-peer lending platform from the SC just now. I showed you in the website. So you actually borrowing from another individual or borrower. And then other source of funding you can get from vendor credit. If you buy materials, you can get them 30 days, 60 days or 90 days credit. Or you can do factoring, meaning that you will get your payment in discount in return for the financing from the bank. Meaning that the bank will factor the loan, factor your purchase order, and then your purchase order will be on the end, and then they will give you part of it. So for example, you want to do some software development, for example, it's digital software development, you need to have some fund, you have a contract, you have a purchase order, and then from the contract and purchase order, you will put them on the end to the bank, and the bank will give you a certain percentage, for example, 85% of the amount, and then 15% will be taken by the bank, or 10%. I'm not sure about the discounting that they do now. It's called factoring. Crowdfunding is about reward-based crowdfunding, similar like P2P, and then equity-based crowdfunding. I showed to you the website just now is equity-based crowdfunding. Yeah. Another method is leasing. Leasing is to lease equipment rather than buy the equipment. You just lease, you pay. But you need to bear in mind that when you take leasing, it is not a capital expenses. It is operational expenses. The operational expenses will eat up your P&L, meaning that it will be showed as expenses in your P&L accounts. So it will eat up your profit. Yeah, so margin of profit will be reduced when you take leasing. But if you buy the equipment, it will not affect your P&L, but it will also not affect your NTA, net tangible asset, but it will affect your cash flow. Will affect your cash flow. Yeah, if you buy equipment, or if same goes with cloud, cloud. You subscribe to cloud, it will be in your operational expenses. It will not be in your capital expenses, meaning that it will not appear, cloud, it will appear as expenses in your P&L. So it will eat up your profit. but it will not appear, it doesn't affect your NTA, net tangible asset, because it is an asset. And then, but your cash flow will be affected. Yeah. Okay, and then you need to form another source of capital for venture is strategic partners. You can gain access to particular resources, material or services or platform. You can partner with some cloud providers, for example. Yeah, and then I move into intellectual property. Another source of is intellectual property. Okay, I will skip. You can read through the notes. Yeah, intellectual property. There are 4 key forms of intellectual property. One is patents. Patents, yeah, 20 years patents. So once you put up the patent, anybody want to use it have to pay royalty to you. Okay, have to request. And then trademarks, same goes. People cannot use their trademarks, but trademark cannot be something which is common. It's common to mean a term which is common to everyone. Yeah, so copyright, certain documents can be patented as copyright. Certain software, some of it can be patented, some of it actually yes, Alice.
Yes, Prof.
Hmm.
Prof, when we compare capital expense from cloud versus physical on-premise servers, for a short investment time, it might look like we invest a shorter, smaller down payment amount. But for a longer period, for let's say if the lifespan is 10 to 15 years, on premises usually you lower capex. So for this kind of situation, in line of digital venture, what would you recommend?
Okay, if you have a long run, actually it's better for have capital expenses, because you will depreciate, but you depreciate over a period of time. Although normally people they depreciate over 5 years, but you can still some equipments can last for 8 to 10 years. You can depreciate over a period of 8 to 10 years. So it doesn't appear in your P&L. It doesn't appear in your P&L. If you buy equipment, it doesn't appear in P&L. Instead, it will appear in your instead it will retain. It will retain in your net tangible asset, NTA. So when people evaluate the company, when external parties evaluate the company, they will evaluate at NTA, net tangible asset. So your net tangible asset will be high because the server is there, and then it will be spread over a period of time. But it will affect your cash flow. For early startup, maybe you don't have that cash flow. So you opted to go for cloud. Cloud, you only pay what you use. So cash flow wise, it is better to go for cloud. But one thing about cloud, it will affect your P&L. Mean you will show a loss in your P&L. And then it's difficult for you to get funding if your P&L is very low. So, but there is affected by the cloud. But you have it depends on your cash flow actually. Do you have enough cash flow to go for capital expenses, or if you don't have enough cash flow, you go for operational expenses. But operational expenses, OPEX, will affect your P&L. Is it clear, at least?
Very clear, Prof. Thank you.
So it is best actually you look into the position of your OPEX and CAPEX, not just the cash flow. But sometimes most entrepreneurs, they don't have choice. I need to put up it early because I need to draw attention from the venture capital or angel investor. So I need to bring it up, and then I don't have money to buy equipment. So instead, I go for cloud. Yeah, so you need to weigh. Okay, now go back to intellectual property. We have patent, trademark, I think copyright. And then another method is trade secrets. Trade secrets meaning that you don't tell anybody. You put all your staff need to sign a non-disclosure agreement, confidentiality deed. You maintain it a secret. So patents, after a period of years, it will be known to everybody, and then they don't even have to pay royalty. And then patents, you need to register in a specific region. So it only cover that region. Yeah, patents. Patent is only cover for a specific region. So, but people have access to your technology. Yeah. So if you need to register patent, it must be useful, must be novel and not obvious. Yeah. And then this is how do you store patents. So trademarks, yeah. And then copyrights and trade secret. Trade secret, you don't have to tell anybody. You make sure that your staff have signed confidentiality deed, non-disclosure agreement with your partners, and so on. Yeah. So, and then how do you maintain logbook for visitors? How do you maintain security in your organization? Yeah, there are a lot of companies I see that I met, especially that hold not IT, like biotech. They maintain trade secret. Okay, now is this three things. Okay, no, the next thing is actually growth, business growth. Yeah, so after you start up, you need to business growth. So not all business have potential to be aggressive growth. You can take sweet time to grow, and then some businesses can grow too fast. And then business success are sometimes cannot doesn't always scale. It doesn't grow. So you need to plan for your growth. How do you develop your growth? Because a lot of companies actually fail when they start to growing. This is my experience and a lot of my friends' experience. When they start grow, so the early growth, continuous growth, maturity, and then they will start failing. Why? Because when you start your businesses, when this is start growing, so the main challenge is when you start your business, you start making sure the initial product is right and so on, and then you will start scaling up, yeah, and then you will be continuous growth. But when you reach maturity stage, you will have moved from the entrepreneurship model to the large business model. You have to move into large business model. Otherwise, you will start declining because you need to have, you will face managerial capacity problem. There will be day-to-day challenges. Yeah, managerial capacity. It's like this. You are doing your MBA, right? In your MBA, all the topics that you learn in HR, in accounting and finance, and so those suits large business. Entrepreneurship is about small business starting up and then growing up, scaling up. But once you start scaling up, you have to shift to the other part. You need to have your team. You need to have the team is different. The team is different. It's the managerial capacity, the team for large organization is different. So you need to move from entrepreneurial to large organization. So there will be more challenges. So you need to move into administration from the entrepreneurial services. You need to move into your managerial services, the function services of your large organization. So it is different. So the basic model for the large organization is different. So when you start scaling up, after maybe you have started your business runs as a routine over 5 years, and then you want to start scaling up, you need to have all the necessary people, skill set of a large organization, of a proper large organization. Yeah. So you need to have managers, proper managers, and so on. So I think will not, because it's think we don't have class next week, but we will have another class. We have presentation, I think. The next class, right? We have a presentation. After the presentation, I will continue with this part on the strategy for growth. I think because we are coming to 9:30 now. We'll continue this part, yeah, on the growing. Because growing is different. In growing, we are becoming a large organization. So you need to have the right team, whatever skill set that runs a normal large organizations. Yeah, you need to have that instead of the entrepreneurial people that everybody do a lot of things. So we don't have class next week, but the other class we will have presentation. How many groups are there for your presentation?
For group, Prof.
Four groups, eh? So, okay, there'll be 20 minutes presentation for a group, and then make sure everyone present so that marks are given individually. And then after the presentation, I will continue with the growth. Yeah, with the growth. Growth is another topic. Growth is not starting up. Yeah, growth is about now we call it scaling up. Start up and then scaling up. How do you scale up? Scale up is another is a different ball game. Okay. Any questions so far?
Prof, I
Yes.
have a question.
Yes.
Today is supposedly we need to submit our group assignment, right?
Yes. Now, today you can submit next week. I need a week, so you can submit on Tuesday latest. Tuesday latest. Tuesday next week.
Oh, next week Tuesday.
1
Okay.
week before the presentation.
Oh, okay, okay. And then one more thing I noticed in the Putra LMS, the class recording is not available
Okay,
for
I will have
session.
to put it up. Actually, I downloaded it and then I put it up in YouTube, and then I will put up the link from YouTube there. It is what do you call it? It is unlisted. It is unlisted. So, but I will put the link from the YouTube there.
Okay, and then one more is the forum. It's just only one question, right, for the forum?
Yes, yes.
Okay, that's all my
Okay,
question.
that's
Thank
all.
you, Prof.
Okay. Yes, any other question? Jamie?
Yes, Prof. I have a question about the address. You mentioned that because you want to be lean and to have less costs and so on, so you don't want to have address. I don't think, Prof, in terms of, I'm just thinking I partially agree, but I also disagree, because if there is no address in the business, does not create this kind of confidence to the customer. I'm thinking in the context of regulatory consultant or let's say a website to support quality assurance or regulatory registration and so on. So if there is no address, it's just a website with the pipelines or the product, and you can register in, let's say, Malaysia, Indonesia. There is no physical address, physical something that you can verify to Google View, see the building, and then call the person and have a little web meeting in the meeting room and see how they operate. I think, Prof, probably that is kind of needed.
Yes, it depends on the organization, Jamie. Depends on your business. Depends on your type of business. Because some businesses, they need to have they need people to come in. So you need a proper outlet. But you don't, for when you do digital business, you don't have to be a huge outlet, a very posh outlet, because people don't deal with you at your office. People will deal with you online. So they just see, okay, you are there. So that is enough. I don't have to be, so you can share offices. You can find you don't have to be in prime location. You can be located at somewhere cheap. So you just need to be there. So people see you are there. There are businesses like people don't deal with them at their premises. For example, when you go Airbnb, nobody go to office of Airbnb. Grab, we don't go to a Grab office. Even let's say Air Asia, we don't go to Air Asia to buy tickets. We buy tickets online. So there is no necessity for us to have big offices. So you can start very lean, just to have just enough existence so that people can come to work. So your key person, your staff can come to work, and then you are there. So you don't have to buy expensive equipment, even signboard. You can just have a second floor and then there is signboard there. That is good enough
Okay.
for me. Yeah.
Prof, a little bit to the same area in terms of address, is in terms of digital banks. So in Singapore, probably in Malaysia, you have the same. In Singapore, it started a bank that is called GTX, and the other one is Marybank. So Marybank is it doesn't offer any address. You cannot pop up to the office. There is nothing. So it's just an app that you download in your mobile phone, and they ask you to invest and also. So a lot of people have tried that. I'm sure everybody has done it. So how far this bank can go in terms of the traditional bank, the traditional banking sector, which you can go and queue, discuss with, there is a customer support, there is a, how far this digital ideal?
Even the physical banks actually are now going to you don't really discuss because you don't, for example, when you go to banks now, you deal with ATMs, you deal with deposit machines, you apply loan, they want you to apply online. And then all the scrutiny, all the filtering is done by machines. So you only if you have problem, then only you visit the banker. When you have delinquent accounts, you have not paid, then only you visit the officer. So same goes with digital banks. And then digital banks is actually the other side. You can say everything is online. You can put your deposit in any ATM, but the same services can be offered. Whatever services that are being offered by the physical bank today can be offered by digital banks, because the physical banks also you don't visit the bank customers unless you are a corporate people. You want to go, and then the digital bank can do the same as well. It's the same thing actually. Okay.
So they can compete. Actually, they are going to be probably in the future.
Yeah, the future. There is another method we call open banking. Open banking where it is a fintech method where the one that provide the services are not banks. They are fronting the banks. We harnessing their relationship with the customers, but the banks are provide white label products. So that is another method. Yeah.
Thank you, Prof.
Okay. Any other?
Prof,
Yes, Alice.
yes, very quick one regarding the group assignment. So right now in the system is already say the due date is today.
Oh yes,
So
I
yeah,
will shift the date. I will shift the date.
so you will extend the date, right?
Yeah,
in
we'll
the
extend the
system.
date. Yeah.
Okay, Prof. So which mean by Tuesday next week we can submit both the report
Yes.
and the
Yeah,
presentation,
yeah.
or can we submit the presentation at a later time?
Presentation can be submitted later because you can finalize your presentation after you have submitted your group assignment.
Okay, got it, Prof.
Okay. Any other question? Okay, if none, we can adjourn for today and we meet again not next week, the other week. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. Thank
Yes.
you, everyone.
Thanks, Prof.
Thanks.
Thank you, Prof.
Okay, thanks.